The system's voice, devoid of any warmth, echoed in the silent space of Liam's mind, confirming the completion of his objective. A wave of exhilaration, sharp and dizzying, washed over him. He was finally free from the exhausting charade, from the constant effort of orbiting Julian Sterling's cold, distant star. He could go home. But then the system presented a new, far more lucrative proposition. Julian's affection value had hit 100%. If Liam could now make him willingly agree to a separation, he wouldn't just return to his old life. He'd return with a fortune beyond his wildest dreams. The thought gave him pause. His original world was a bleak landscape of unpaid bills and crushing loneliness. He was an orphan, a product of the foster care system who had aged out into a life of thankless, low-wage jobs. A life so grueling it had literally killed him once. This bonus wasn't just money. It was a promise of a life he'd never even dared to imagine. The decision was instantaneous. Making Julian Sterling let him go should be simple. The man was an enigma, a fortress of indifference. Liam was certain that Julian's agreement to their relationship had been born of persistent annoyance, not genuine affection. After all, what kind of boyfriend could remain utterly stone-faced while being kissed, continuing to type on his laptop as if nothing were happening? That 100% affection score felt like a system glitch. He pulled out his phone, the screen illuminating a history of his own relentless pursuit. Countless messages, each a small beacon of manufactured warmth sent into a void. Texts about missing him, about bringing him lunch, his favorite steak from that downtown bistro, about being scared to sleep alone in their sprawling Chicago high-rise. Julian's replies were a study in brevity. Working late. Okay. On my way. He was a human auto-reply. Liam suspected that if he stopped initiating contact, Julian might go the rest of his life without sending the first text. A shiver of revulsion went through him as he recalled the years of feigned adoration. He cleared his throat, enjoying the simple freedom of not having to pitch his voice into a softer, more pleasing register. Just then, Julian emerged from the ensuite bathroom, a cloud of steam billowing behind him. A single white towel was knotted low on his hips, leaving the sharp lines of his torso and the defined planes of his abdomen exposed. Water glistened on his broad shoulders. Liam's breath hitched, an involuntary reaction to a sight he'd coveted for years. Julian's eyes, as cool and gray as a winter sky, met his gaze without a flicker of emotion. But Liam, in his new resolve, failed to notice the faint blush creeping up the tips of Julian's ears. Julian's voice was as cool and flat as ever when he stated he had work to finish and told Liam to go to bed. That was the opening. This was step one. Liam gathered his pillow, the soft down a flimsy shield, and walked over to Julian's minimalist glass desk. Julian didn't look up from his screen but acknowledged his presence with a quiet question about what was wrong. Liam announced his intention to sleep in the guest room. The rhythmic clatter of keys stopped for a single, charged second before resuming, the brief interruption the only sign his words had landed. Julian's reply was a clipped, "Indifferent, suit yourself." The casual dismissal stung, igniting a spark of fury in Liam's chest. He clutched the pillow tighter, a childish fantasy of returning to his world and hiring a dozen male models just to spite the man flickering through his mind. He turned and left without another word. From his desk, Julian watched his retreating back, a profound and unfamiliar sense of loss settling in his chest. Sleep did not come easily in the sterile silence of the guest room. Liam tossed and turned, the unfamiliar bed feeling vast and cold. For years, his nights had been defined by Julian. In the beginning, Julian had resisted sharing a bed, claiming his late work hours would disturb Liam's sleep. But Liam had been persistent, wearing him down until he relented. He had made a ritual of it, sitting on the bed and watching Julian work, waiting until he finally shut his laptop and slid under the covers. Only then would Liam curl against him, burying his face in the crook of Julian's neck, finding solace in his steady presence. To say he felt nothing for the man would be a lie. Years of dedicated pursuit had inevitably blurred the lines between performance and reality. But Julian's unyielding emotional distance had chipped away at his heart, leaving it bruised and tender. He clutched the guest pillow, inhaling the faint, clean scent of Julian that still clung to the fabric, and waited for an elusive sleep. His internal clock, conditioned by years of routine, woke him at dawn. He used to rise early to give Julian a goodbye kiss before he left for the office. Pushing open the bedroom door, he found a scene that stopped him short. Julian was already awake, sitting silently at the dining table. In front of him were 2 paper bags from Goldblatt's Deli, the one place that required lining up before sunrise to get their famous everything bagels. Julian hadn't touched his. A dark, bruised coloring under his eyes suggested a sleepless night. This was a startling deviation from their norm. Julian never made breakfast. Liam was the one who handled domestic duties, his simple efforts, usually just coffee and toast, praised by Liam with an effusiveness that now made him cringe. Liam said nothing, pulling out a chair and unwrapping a bagel. It was warm, the crust perfectly crisp. He took a large bite, a small hum of appreciation escaping him. When he looked up, Julian's gaze was fixed on him, intense and unreadable. Julian quickly averted his eyes, the tips of his ears flushing that familiar shade of red. Liam finished his breakfast in silence. Julian remained motionless, his own bagel untouched. Liam checked his watch. It was nearly 7. The man was a notorious workaholic who was usually out the door by now. Liam asked if he wasn't going to work. Julian's eyes darted back to him, a strange, wounded expression within them, announcing that he was going back to bed. Liam stood to leave. As he turned, Julian shot up from his chair, his hand closing around Liam's arm. He pulled Liam close, his voice low and searching as he asked if he had forgotten something. His eyes were wide with a desperate hope. Liam nodded slowly. Julian's grip loosened, his face leaning in expectantly. Instead of a kiss, Liam reached past him, grabbed the remaining bagel and the coffee cup from the table, and pressed them gently against Julian's chest. He told him not to waste food, then turned and walked back to the guest room without a backward glance. At his sprawling corner office overlooking the Chicago River, Julian stared at his phone for the 10th time that hour. The air around him was so charged with tension that his assistant, Mark, moved with the cautious delicacy of a bomb disposal expert. Usually, by this time of day, his phone would be flooded with texts from Liam. Unable to resist, Julian scrolled up through their message history, a sea of white bubbles from Liam against his own terse, blue replies. It had been nearly 12 hours since Liam's last message. He tapped on a 3-second voice note. Liam's sweet, cheerful voice filled the silent office. "Love you, Julian." His heart gave a painful squeeze. He played another, and another. He listened to every single voice message, watched every silly video Liam had ever sent him, the warmth in his chest warring with the cold dread in his stomach. A quiet cough from Mark broke the spell. Julian pocketed his phone, his expression hardening as he shot his assistant a glare that could freeze water. Mark swallowed hard and asked, with professional trepidation, if he should call Liam, suggesting that perhaps something was wrong since he hadn't come by with lunch. After a long, agonizing pause, Julian gave a single, curt nod. The phone rang, and Liam, groggy from sleep, finally answered. He had just woken up, he explained lazily. He glanced at the clock, almost noon. On any other day, he would have been at Julian's office an hour ago with a carefully packed lunch. A pang of hunger reminded him he needed to eat. As he was about to order a pizza, a text popped up. It was from Mark, whom he'd befriended to get insider information on Julian's schedule. The text was a picture. A table laden with an exquisite spread of sushi, all of his favorite kinds. His stomach rumbled in protest, but he typed out a polite refusal. A moment later, Mark replied, explaining that Julian was in a meeting and if Liam didn't come, it would all be thrown away. After a moment of feigned hesitation, Liam grabbed his keys. He was only going to prevent food waste, he told himself. He burst into the company lobby with an eagerness he couldn't quite suppress and made a beeline for Julian's office. Pushing the heavy glass door open, the sight that greeted him made his smile freeze and crumble. The sushi was there, arranged beautifully on the conference table. But sitting across from Julian was a woman, tall, elegant, with flawless skin and a laugh that echoed with effortless confidence. They looked comfortable, intimate, leaning towards each other in shared amusement. Liam recognized her. Isabella Vance. Her firm had been a long-time partner of Julian's, and her romantic interest in him was an open secret. She had only backed off after learning about Liam. He had never considered her a threat, confident in his place. Now, seeing them together, a hot, shameful wave of jealousy washed over him. His eyes burned. The bastard had called him here to flaunt his new conquest. He spun on his heel, his appetite vanishing. He ran into Mark in the hallway, who tried to stop him, asking if he wasn't staying to eat. Liam's voice was laced with ice as he replied that he wouldn't want to interrupt their boss. His words carried. Julian heard him and his head snapped towards the open door, a flicker of panic in his eyes. He shot to his feet, but Isabella's playful voice called after him, asking if he was leaving so soon. Julian's reply was a low growl about his boyfriend running off. By the time he reached the lobby, Liam was already in a cab, leaving Julian standing in a swirl of exhaust fumes. In the back of the taxi, Liam's hurt began to curdle into a strange sort of clarity. This was for the best. The cold, distant Julian he knew had finally found someone who could melt him. It would make the breakup easier, cleaner. He could leave without guilt. All he needed was the right moment to stage a dramatic, heartbroken exit. He pulled out his phone, opened Julian's contact, and hit block. Then he posted a simple, cryptic status update. Do not disturb. His phone buzzed again, but it was Alex, one of his oldest friends from high school. For years, Alex had tried to get him out, but Liam, consumed by his mission, had always refused. The group chat was alive with messages from his friends, threatening to disown him if he bailed on them again. He sighed and typed a simple reply. Where? Later that night, the bass of the club vibrated through the floor. The word club felt like an artifact from a past life. He hadn't been to one since graduation night, a blurry memory of cheap drinks and bad decisions. It was the night he'd drunkenly confessed to Julian on the phone. Julian had come to pick him up, finding him sprawled across Alex's lap, giggling as he traced the outline of his friend's abs. Julian's face had been a thundercloud as he pulled Liam to his feet. Later, Alex had said Julian looked like he wanted to commit murder. The very next day, Julian had agreed to be his boyfriend. Now, Liam ignored his friend's worried chatter, downing drink after drink. His thoughts were a chaotic jumble of resentment. He was angry at Julian for being cold to him but warm to Isabella. Angry at the instant ramen he knew he'd have to eat later because Julian disapproved of junk food in the house. angry at the video game he'd lost 5 times in a row earlier. He was just so tired of everything piling up. As the club filled, a handsome stranger approached their booth, his smile practiced and smooth. His friends, sensing an opportunity for distraction, cheered him on. Liam, buoyed by alcohol and a reckless sense of despair, clinked his glass against the stranger's and drained it. The man leaned in closer, his intent clear. Liam's stomach turned. He felt a sudden, visceral wave of nausea and muttered for the man to not touch him. Suddenly, a low, menacing voice cut through the noise. A hand shot out, grabbing the collar of Liam's shirt and yanking him to his feet. He was face to face with Julian, whose eyes were burning with a cold fire. The stranger vanished into the crowd. Julian's gaze flickered to Alex, a silent, deadly promise in the look, before he gripped Liam's arm. His voice was a low command in Liam's ear. "We're going home." The drive back was suffocatingly silent. Once inside their apartment, the door had barely clicked shut before Julian slammed him against it, his body pressing Liam into the wood. His voice was a ragged whisper against Liam's skin, demanding to know if he was leaving him for someone else. His hand traced Liam's lips, a rough, desperate caress. Liam, fueled by hurt and alcohol, shoved him away, his voice cracking with anger as he accused Julian of hypocrisy, of smiling for another woman while only ever showing him a cold shoulder. He said if Julian wanted to break up, he should just say it. Julian stared at him, a strange look of understanding dawning on his face. He murmured that he got it now. The next thing Liam knew, he was being thrown over Julian's shoulder and carried to the bedroom. A primal fear shot through him as Julian began to remove his tie, his movements deliberate and unnerving. He tried to scramble away, but Julian caught him easily, pinning him to the bed. His mouth came down on Liam's, a kiss that was not gentle or tender, but a desperate, possessive claiming. The next morning, Liam ached in places he didn't know could ache. His throat was raw. He propped himself up just as Julian walked in, his expression uncharacteristically soft. He carried a bowl of soup, and after placing it on the nightstand, he leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to Liam's swollen lips. He fed him spoonful by spoonful, his eyes filled with a warmth Liam had never seen before. Once the bowl was empty, Julian kissed his forehead and whispered that he was a good boy. Then he began to explain. He told Liam that he and Isabella had no romantic involvement, that he had been desperate after Liam's sudden coldness and had gone to her for advice, because she was known for being a master of navigating complex social dynamics. She was teaching him how to be a better boyfriend, how to win Liam back. The laughter Liam had seen had been Isabella mocking Julian's clumsy attempts at romance. As proof, he showed Liam his phone. Their text exchange entirely focused on analyzing Liam's behavior and brainstorming ways for Julian to show affection. Then came the deeper confession. He explained why he had been so cold for so long. He had overheard Liam talking in his sleep months ago, muttering about affection levels, about reaching 100%, about finally being able to go back. The words had terrified him. He didn't know where back was, only that it meant Liam would leave him. So he'd built a wall, believing that if he kept his own feelings in check, if the affection score never reached its target, Liam would have to stay. But when Liam had started pulling away, he had panicked. He had seen Liam with his friends at the bar, laughing with another man, and the fear of losing him had become unbearable. His voice cracked as he asked, "Are you going to leave me, Liam?" Would he? The system's offer of a new life, a rich life, flashed in his mind. But then he looked at Julian, at the raw vulnerability in his eyes, and imagined a world without him. The thought was a physical ache in his chest. He had been playing a part for so long, He'd failed to realize when the performance had ended and the real feelings had begun. He loved him. A familiar, dispassionate voice echoed in his mind, asking for a final confirmation. Did he wish to remain in this world? Liam silenced it with a single, decisive action. He leaned forward, wrapped his arms around Julian's neck, and pulled him into a deep, searching kiss. It was an answer, a promise, and a choice. This was his world now. This was his life. And he was finally ready to live it.